Aloha, you're listening to the Rolling Vets podcast by veterans for veterans and civilians alike. I'm Lucas Motz, your co-host, and I'm flanked by my Marine veteran peer, Chris Ellis. We would like to extend an invitation to you, the listener, to journey inside of our realm to discover what it means to be a rolling vet.
And we are back.
Sure are. You know who else is back? Brittney Griner, back in the U.S. after being a prisoner exchange between the Biden administration, so the U.S. and Russia. We swapped Viktor Bout, an international arms dealer, to bring back a WNBA player. And the rhetoric out there, a lot of the rhetoric is that we left a Marine behind, that we left another United States citizen in Russian prison by the name of Paul Whelan. Yes, he did serve in the Marine Corps. We'll get into that. And so that's the big news right now. That is what's reaching the headlines right now. And because obviously it's a big thing that has to do with there's geopolitical ramifications and all this stuff, and the Cold War just continues on. But because of the fact that there is indeed a Marine involved in this story, we do want to touch on it and kind of like really dissect it a little bit and see like what the fuck just happened and why the fuck did it just happen,
Yeah, so one thing I want to hit on real quick is the whole rhetoric about the Marine being left behind and why she comes back. I will honestly say I did not know about him until today.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's a majority of people, and I feel like that's sad in a sense that a WNBA player who brought weed with her to Russia, a vape pod, got more publicity than a Marine that, from what I have read, was on charges of being a spy,
espionage. Yeah.
So that really blew me away. There was so much media coverage over that, and so it got me to dive into more about this Viktor Bout guy. I really did.
Viktor Bout.
Bout, whatever, fucking Boot. That's what he is. All right,
he's a fucking Boot.
So I wanna dive into him real quick and give the listeners some background information on this guy who doesn't know about him. So I got all this information from justice.gov. It's my fucking credentials. Suck my dick. All right. So from what I've seen, this guy, he was charged with, let me get the backstory first. So the FARC is what I'm going to refer to this as, is the Fuerzas Armados Revolucionarios de Colombia.
Revolutionaries de Colombia.
So I'm going to refer to them as the fucking FARC. All right. They are a left-wing Marxist guerrilla organization formed in 1964, and one of their biggest people they opposed is obviously the United States. The FARC has carried out bombings, assassinations, hijackings, kidnapped foreigners for ransom. They kidnapped a senator when there was a demilitarization of like 64,000 acres or some shit, 4,000 miles. And that ended in 2002, and the Colombian governor remilitarized it. So I wanted to look into about what his charges were, what the reason was behind it. I didn't know nothing about this guy. So there was confidential sources that met with him on March 6th in 2008 in Thailand. They said they wanted to buy arms off of him and use against U.S. officials in Colombia, and they wanted to bomb American helicopters. And he was fine with that because he said that the United States was his enemy too, and he's been fighting them for 10 to 15 years, and this was all recorded. So he stated that the FARC's fight against the United States was also his. He also offered to provide them with people to train the FARCs on the use of the weapons. Now, the weapons that he was going to sell the FARCs is, let me pull this up real quick. It was 800 surface-to-air missiles, 30,000 AK-47s, 10 million rounds of ammo, 5 tons of C4, airplanes outfitted with grenade launchers, and unmanned aerial vehicles. So that's a fucking lot to unpack right there. All right, yeah. That's what he was charged with. That's what that's what we had him in jail for, and that is the gentleman that we traded for a WNBA star that, frankly, my opinion of is she has a distaste for America.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I think the big pushback on, I mean, all social, I mean, I haven't seen one person say they agree with the decision yet. Was that she, I mean, was against the national anthem. Uh, I mean, I decided to dive into her social media to see if I could find anything about her, and see what type of person what she was. Most of her shit she was retweeting or on Twitter and stuff was about just basketball and stuff. I did find some she retweeted a tweet that called Texas voter ID laws straight out of the Jim Crow playbook.
nice,
I was like,
nice.
nice, yep. So I feel like it's a lot of distaste, and the light came out about the Marines being stuck there while we pull back this WNBA player that has hatred towards America, and we trade a Russian arms dealer that, I mean, is directly like responsible for the deaths of I don't know how many people. Obviously, he was in it just for the money, or I mean, well, he did state that he was against America and he was fighting it for 10 to 15 years. But regardless, I mean, he's probably trying to make some money out of this. But is the individual worth the trade? When, in my point of view on this, she went to Russia knowingly bringing marijuana with her when she knows it is illegal. She
Alleged,
probably
she
thought,
claims, so the knowingly is alleged. So she claims that she was in a rush and forgot that it was in her bag. So
hey, if I got caught too, bro, I would have forgot
that was
too.
her defense. That was her defense.
Yeah, but that would have been anybody's defense in that situation. I would have been
Yeah,
saying the
yeah.
same fucking thing.
Let's be honest. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of outcry now that we left the United States Marine there, but we got back this WNBA player. And I personally think it was just the Biden administration virtue signaling to the people, because there was a lot of people out there, the hashtag free Brittney Griner or whatever the fuck was out there for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's I think it's very there's a lot of things to unpack here. So to
Yeah.
to kind of bring more further light on like who Viktor Bout is as a person. Like I did a whole research project on him when I was in high school, and I read a book called The Merchant of Death. It's and I actually I have a
His
quote from
nickname.
yeah, which is that's his nickname. So and also there's a movie that is very very loosely based on his life called Lord of War, played by Nicolas Cage, like stars Nicolas Cage.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's a good movie to check out. Ethan
I
Hawke's
did
in
not
it
know that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean it kind of glorifies a lifestyle, but I mean so Viktor Bout was born in Eastern Europe in the Soviet Union. And nobody even knows like what year he was actually born. Like there's no records because after the fall of the Soviet Union, I mean, there's nobody knows his actual age. And so he ends up serving in the Russian military as a lieutenant, and then the fall of the fucking Soviet Union happens, right? So I mean, he no longer has a job, but he sees this opportunity, and because he's an officer, he has connections to higher ups in the Russian military, like and Russian officials. So what he does is he starts selling all the Russian stockpile weapons that are just like hoard up like all over like these fucking just bases all over Russia, just starts selling all these Russian weapons to everybody. He sold them to both sides of almost every single conflict, every single major conflict in the world for about like 20 plus years, the United States included. He sold weapons to both the United States and the fucking Taliban at the same time in Afghanistan. He was selling AK-47s to both sides of like of civil wars occurring in African countries. Like this dude didn't give a fuck. He had no allegiances whatsoever. Which is why the whole comment about the American thing, like I take with a fucking grain of salt, because he's a salesman at the end of the day. He's a fucking salesman. He's gonna say whatever he wants to make sure that like, okay, this dude aligns with like what I want to. I'm gonna buy my fucking guns from him, kind of thing. Like, the dude doesn't give a fuck who he's selling to. And there's a good quote from the book that I pulled up when I was like actually like looking back into him again, because the dude is just fucking He's just really something else. And the quote goes, in an age when the US president has divided the world into those who are with the United States and those who are against it, Bout is both. So he was constantly that middleman. Like there are even some instances in which he was, and for like natural disaster reliefs, he was there first with natural disaster relief supplies, then the American Red Cross or like whoever, so or other like, world peacekeeping corps or whatever. So he was always Johnny on the spot. And he was able to operate for decades without being, persecuted or prosecuted by anybody because of the fact that they even quoted saying that like nobody shoots the postman. Like he was always seen as like the delivery guy, never as like the person who was actually selling the guns. So very interesting thing. But yeah, we caught him in Thailand. It was the DEA posing as FARC, as members of FARC, and snagged his ass. And then yeah, he's been rotting in a fucking American prison ever since. And as prisoners are concerned for the United States, I think he's one of the few Russian prisoners that we actually have, which is why this deal is so complicated because think about it, we would love to get our fucking hands on Edward Snowden. The US government would love to get our hands on Edward Snowden, but technically he's a Russian citizen now. So he's technically you can't even exchange for him, you can't even extradite him. But so you have Paul Whelan, who's accused of espionage, which a lot of people obviously believed. And I actually wrote this term down. When people say, I hate this fucking term, and they use this with Brittney Griner the entire time, wrongfully detained. You are not wrongfully detained if you break the fucking law in another country and you're suffering the consequences for breaking that law. Like that there's no wrongfully detained, there's no wrong detainment, there's no. Like let's all just be realistic about the scenario and just be frank about what it really is. Let's call it what it is. If it walks like a duck and fucking quacks like a duck, like
it's not
it's a
it's
fucking
definitely
duck.
not a wrongful detainment. I mean, definitely a wrongful detainment. That's a fucking stupid fucking phrase.
Yeah.
One thing I will fucking say though is, does the crime fit the fucking punishment?
Well, okay, so you brought up a good point earlier, because when you talk about worth, like how do we assess like what was like the deal worth it, And that's another thing I wrote down. Like, how could you value the trade? And I think it's a very interesting concept because they're being held to different standards. Obviously, well, you have Brittney Griner who's locked up, and this is all optics, all right, because perception is reality, right? So I'm generalizing what the general public would like kind of views this whole scenario. Like I'm trying to speak objectively from this, I want to like lay it out as factual as possible and try not to be biased when I say this. But okay, so you have all right, NBA star gets caught with weed.
Well, WNBA star that nobody knew about until this happened.
Okay. I mean, I'm not even going to go there, but I mean, just okay. So this is just the nuts and bolts. WNBA star goes to a foreign country with weed, basically like cartridges, like vape cartridges. Gets caught, gets detained. It makes the news obviously because of her status as a celebrity. And then you have this whole outcry for people to want like to get her released. Like the government should do something about this, where like at the same time we have, thousands and thousands of people who are spending, years of their lives in prisons, in jails in our own system for the same thing, or even lesser. A lot of them didn't even try to bring it into the country. They just fucking had it on them. So you have to put that in perspective. So that's one angle. And then also you have, okay, and this is the White House statement. They said it was either one or none. Like there was no way that we could get them both back, is what they're saying. So and then when they say like one or none, like they didn't even have a choice between the one. It like, because they're claiming that the Russians are dealing with it differently because of the fact that Paul Whelan is accused, or actually charged. He was actually charged and convicted of espionage. Whereas Brittney Griner was just coming in with, vape cartridges. Like the two totally different crimes are going to be handled differently, right?
Yeah.
So like, But I mean, that's where you're saying like crime, like the punishment, like when you're gonna weigh the value of somebody like Viktor Bout, who you can only assume the body count left behind because of like what he did, and then when you first texted me about this too, and I brought up a good point, like, oh, not to fucking break my own arm, fucking jerking myself off, but like I brought up the point, but that are all all gun shop owners responsible for every fucking every death that their product has fucking has
Has caused,
created,
yeah,
has
but
caused, yeah.
and I'll hit you back with what I think what I responded with was like, yeah, but in America you go through a fucking background check. He was fucking selling guns to literally fucking terrorists who said they wanted to fucking kill Americans and kill
And he was selling
other
it to
people.
the United States, and I
Hey,
said that
I'm not
too.
saying, yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing
Yeah.
with you at all. But I mean, like, just back to it, it's like he knew what he was doing. Like, he knew that the guns he's putting in these people's hands, they're going to use to go fucking kill people. He
Yeah.
didn't give a
Yeah.
fuck. Like, he didn't give a
Yeah.
fuck. I mean,
Yeah. The money was still green,
yeah, money's still fucking green.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's fucking. So that's the scenario. So you have the one and none, the one or none, and
I
and
feel
then the
like that
one
could
we
also be
got.
just the White House covering their ass. They could also just be saying one or none just to cover that. So I feel
Well,
personally,
here's
I feel like that the reason they even did the trade in the beginning and gave this dude who is fucking responsible for probably millions of deaths, you could say, for a girl who brought weed to a country that's illegal. And the reason she was there in the first place was with a basketball team because she wanted to make more money in the off season. And I seen that, so I was like, all right, how much is this? You always hear that WNBA players don't get paid like the same as
how much
fucking.
is it? How much is it, Fugazi?
How much is her fucking net worth? $5 million. She has a net worth of $5 million. So she's bringing weed with her to a country that is fucking radical as fuck. I think me and you both know that we would never do that. I think that she probably thought her status, that she was a basketball player, that she was like untouchable. Because I mean, you gotta think when somebody is worth millions, their life is different than the average person. They don't go fucking work for their job. Her job is playing basketball. Her job is just shooting a ball in a fucking hoop. As easy as that fucking is, regardless if you're a male or a fucking female. You're shooting a fucking ball in a hoop.
And now you're getting into like
dollars.
in almost like intense. But I mean, I don't. That's. I want to ask you. I want to ask you, like, in this scenario, right? So you have the option to trade someone, right? A political, like, prisoner exchange. And so you have only one of their detainees and they have two of yours. So they have two of your citizens. Do you make the trade knowing that you're only going to get one of them back? Or do you just not make the trade at all because you're not going to get both of them back?
Well, first off, I want to go back before I answer that question to that's just what we were told. The government is always truthful with us. Obviously, they're always truthful. So I mean, obviously, yeah. But if it's coming down to if I can either get this United States Marine, which obviously personally I have not looked into his story that much, so I can't really speak on him or whatever he did. I probably need to look into that though. And then Brittney Griner for this Russian arms dealer. If I was told we'll give you Brittney Griner back for this Russian arms dealer trade, I would say fuck no. Fuck no. Like when it comes back down to it, I think it needs to be you need to be accountable for what your decisions. I mean, if that Marine, I don't look at the story yet, but if I looked at a story and he was like doing some shady shit and like being where he wasn't supposed to be and like got arrested doing some shady shit, like that's his own fucking fault. And you as a person know right from wrong.
Yes.
If you're going to Russia, you know that weed is illegal there. Like I mean, you both smoke pot. Would you take pot with you to Russia?
Fuck
no. Fuck no.
I'm scared to even take it on like a commercial, like a local flight
in America.
like a flight within CONUS. Not even thinking about like international flight. Like I wouldn't even fucking I wouldn't even put it up my butt or anything. Like, it's not even worth it. It's not even fucking worth it.
Exactly.
Like if it's that big of a deal, I just know there's probably a way I could find it when I get there.
Yeah.
Like,
so if it was my decision,
have a nose for it,
I'm sure you can get some there too. She's a fucking WNBA star. I guarantee you she can fucking find some.
Yeah,
but
easy.
if it's either the one or none, then I'm fucking choosing none. I'm not going to choose somebody who has in my personal view, has disrespected our country and has
See
got
now,
in
see now
trouble.
you're getting personal about
Hey,
it.
no, 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 no. I know I am. I know I am. I know I am. I said my personal view. I said that. I
Yeah.
said my personal view. I would not. Hell, fucking no. Trade. Just don't even look at it from a political stance. Just a woman who brought weed in Russia for a arms dealer that's responsible for killing potentially millions of people. Do a straight up trade. The average person would probably look at you and be like, fuck no. What?
And I
I'm gonna
think
I'm gonna trade some woman who brought weed with her to a different country for a dude who legit was responsible for. I mean, obviously, if he's
I'm
just trying
not
to make his buck,
sure.
I get the situation.
Yeah, I don't like want to speak for the general public, but I haven't really seen a whole lot that has claimed otherwise in your view that would like people are like, what the fuck? Like, did that like because obviously we wanted to bring her home. No doubt about it. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm
yeah.
all for bringing her home.
Yeah. Like, we're not saying that she should have just served. I mean, in my opinion, like, you do the crime, like, you do the time. But if we do
Yeah,
have the option that we can do something about it, then we should do something about it. That's what I'm
yeah,
about. That's my opinion.
yeah,
So the fact that we did have something to do about it, or that we could do something about it and we did, like, that makes me happy that we were willing to do that. But you kind of have to sit back, and when the dust settles, all the cards had fallen and you're looking around and you're just like, is that what it cost? Like, did that, like, did we really want her back that badly? Like, that's what that cost? Like, um, and I
virtue
think,
signaling.
yeah, and I think it is that, but I mean, and like what I said earlier, like when I said the scenario where you basically have like one major like detainee, like one fucking prisoner that is worth so much to Russia. I mean, I wouldn't say that he's worth like a whole lot to Russia, but I mean, he's worth a great deal to Russia. Um, and then you have somebody like a celebrity status such as like Brittney Griner, and like you have to kind of look at it like, okay, if you wanted to bring back somebody like Paul Whelan, and this I'm about to get into Paul Whelan in just a second, but if you wanted to bring back somebody, like, is that the person you use? Like, you wanted to sacrifice your queen, right? You wanted to sacrifice your queen in a game of chess to for like a pawn, to get a pawn, is like, that's the way I kind of see it,
Yeah, it
unfortunately.
is. Yeah,
Like, just like politically, like just the power, like the political power that these two prisoners held. The world's obviously not going to collapse if either one of them stayed locked up in whatever country they're in, right? But like, just the political power of just a statement of having someone who, Viktor Bout couldn't have done a lot of those things without the help of a lot of people within the Russian government. So you have to kind of consider that, the ramifications of that. But then you have Brittney Griner, who literally did nothing but play basketball professionally. So, I mean, that's another thing. And when I bring up Paul Whelan, okay, and I dug deep into Paul Whelan as well. Paul Whelan,
before you go into his bio and everything that happened with him, I want to make a statement real quick.
yeah.
I fucking guarantee it. In less than 2 weeks, we will never hear about Paul Whelan again. He will be erased from the fucking media, and no one will give a fuck. Because that's how everything works. It's just the next
Timestamp
fucking
this.
story. Timestamp this shit. Fucking 9:23, fucking 8 or 12, fucking 8:22.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. That's just how the media works. How everything works. I think people are going to be
Yeah, there's
outraged. And they're like, yeah, like
trends.
I'm fucking
Yeah.
mad too. And then they're going to forget about him. That dude's going to be sitting over there. That's a real fucking person. That's a real
Yeah.
fucking person who grew up in America, decided to enlist in the Marine Corps, went to fucking boot camp, went to Paris Island or San Diego, fucking did his fucking time just like me and you fucking did. Got stationed, got put somewhere if he was there on leave or whatever, and then got whatever the fuck happened to him that you're probably going to get into. And now he's sitting there in fucking prison. And imagine sitting in his fucking shoes, sitting there and just seeing a Russian arms dealer get traded for a basketball player, and you're like, what the fuck? Because if I was in this situation, I'd be fucking furious, dude. So
Well,
I'm gonna
yeah.
let you go.
Yeah, so Paul isn't everybody. He isn't everything that he's kind of being hyped up to be here, Paul. So Paul is actually Canadian. He was born in
I didn't know
Canada.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was born in Canada, but spent a lot of his youth in Michigan, in Ann Arbor, Michigan. did enlist in the Marine Corps in the reserves, but spent a lot of time on active duty, like deployed. He was in Operation Iraqi Freedom and stuff like that. But he was an administrative clerk. He was a pogue, like this pogue you can get. Not that was a bad thing. But so the way his career came to an end in the United States Marine Corps is he got court-martialed and had a bad conduct discharge. He was charged for larceny, even faking, like even using other people's social security numbers, like basically forging checks, all this kind of shit. Yeah,
All right, fuck that dude. All right,
total shitbag.
Let him set.
So he gets out of the Marines and starts doing a bunch of like random stuff. Starts working in some sales and whatnot, and like does a lot of stuff in Russia. The Russians claim that that they found him in a room with a thumb drive that was being exchanged that had a list of names of employees at a specific secret agency location or something like that. So that's what the Russians claim. Paul obviously was saying that's a bunch of horse shit, and that this was during, like, I think he got arrested in 2017, 2018. So like, tensions are still very high with Russia as always. Like that's kind of where you get the height of it there. And so he's claiming that he was arrested wrongfully. And he's basically
wrongfully detained.
That he's wrongfully detained, and the reason that he's wrongfully detained is because of the fact that he is American, and that they're kind of using him as like political, like as a political pawn, like they only arrested him to have him as leverage against the United States. So I'm not sure what I fucking believe from that whole story. Like the whole thing sounds sus in general. But at the end of the day, he is an American, though I think he has 4 citizenships: Canadian, United States, Ireland, and the UK. So he's like, I think he's citizens of all 4 of those. I'm not sure if the UK, don't fucking obviously fact check me on that one, but I know for a fact it's Ireland, Canada, and the US at least. So yeah, I mean, this dude's still locked up over there. He's still considered an American. So like, I just saw, in my personal opinion, I just saw a lot of people on Facebook like fucking like, share this post, like, we left a fucking Marine behind. Like
I seen Mark fucking Micah Parsons, the fucking Cowboys fucking defensive end.
He was like, hell no. Yeah,
we left the fucking Marine back. Like, what the fuck? Hell no.
Yeah. But I mean, that's where you have to be very careful with like language, like language in media. Because when you're approaching a situation and you see Marine left behind, by Biden administration, obviously it's going to trigger a lot of people. Because a lot of people are like, damn, like that's what you fucking
Biden,
traded
dude.
for. Yeah, that's what you fucking traded for. Like a fucking, it's just gonna, just further enable further just throw fuel on the discourse, right? So that being said, I mean, that's why I made it a point for people to be aware of like some of the kind of like shady background of Paul Whelan first. And then obviously the CIA came out with a statement, and they said that they would never obviously hire anyone who had his kind of military background, being fucking charged with larceny and court-martialed. So, but then again, like, the CIA has always stated that if you ever get caught, we would never claim you. So like you believe whatever you want to believe in that scenario.
Yeah, it's a fucked up situation regardless. I mean, because this dude, like, he obviously fucked up when he was in the Marine Corps. He did some fucked up things, got kicked out, whatever, bad conduct discharge, which obviously anybody who is in the military knows that bad conduct is not fucking good.
Yeah.
And then he gets caught in Russia, regardless if this is true or not. I could see it definitely being a political pawn piece. I mean, it's not hard to think that's true, but I mean, it's not hard to think that he obviously could be doing something shady over there too. I mean, if you look at how other governments operate, people think every government operates, I think, like America does in a sense. It's like no, like in some other countries, if you talk bad about the government, like in China, if you talk bad about the government online, they'll come to your fucking house and they'll arrest you. I've seen videos in China that they are welding apartment doors shut and keeping people closed in for COVID. Like people don't understand how fucking good we have it here, and how lucky we are and how privileged we are to live in America. And that's why at the end of the day, like when you're going over to another country, you need to be like get your fucking P's and Q's in order. Like that's it's your own fucking fault. Like I said, like, at the end of the day, when Brittney Griner brought weed with her over there, it's her own fucking fault. Like you should have checked your baggage. Personally, I don't fucking think that she just leaves fucking weed in her baggage all the time. Like I mean, anybody I know just doesn't leave fucking
I
carts and
get that.
fucking
Does
weed.
the W? I don't know if the WNBA do they test like that. I don't know if
Probably
that's the
fuck
thing,
not.
but I know it's very common for athletes that during the off season they use marijuana. I know
Oh
it's a
yeah,
very
obviously we're
very
pro
common thing.
marijuana. And then let's move into this aspect now. America just traded a Russian arms dealer for a woman who got caught smoking pot, while we have how many tens of thousands of people in jail right now for what she got charged with. So
Well,
the Biden, what?
she didn't get charged for smoking it. She got
No,
charged.
but having it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but how many people got charged for having marijuana? I mean, that's the same thing. Like,
I mean,
I
Kamala
think,
Harris locked up people
and kept them over past their fucking time due
to use
to
them for
cheap
manual labor.
labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and a lot of them, majority of them were on marijuana charges.
I think, like, obviously, if anybody listens to this podcast, they know that I fucking hate Biden. Um, but I think the only way that they can like
We are
even make this
politically
right.
objective on this show.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I think fucking Trump needs
Yeah.
to not fucking run either. Trump needs to
Yeah.
fucking his stupid ass needs to stop. All right.
I do like to like credit ourselves that we do try to stay,
Yeah.
in my opinion, like politically objective and just kind of see
Yeah.
things from both sides.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
anybody knows me before, you know, I used to be hardcore political, but I'm not fucking like that anymore. But at the end of the day, I think the Biden admin, they need to immediately like fucking incorporate some new law, whatever they do, to pass all these misdemeanor drug charges for all these people that are in jail for marijuana. If you just traded a Russian arms dealer who could be responsible for millions of deaths for a girl who got caught with weed, why we simultaneously have fucking tens of thousands of people in jail for those same fucking offenses, like no, they need to be fucking released. Like at the end of the day, that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is crazy to think about that was the rhetoric when people were okay with that. People were just totally okay with just being like, yeah, let's just get her back. Like, it was just a little weed, and they, their fucking neighbor 2 doors down just came back from a 10-year sentence, and fucking having an eighth in his car, something, something stupid, but it is what it is. I mean, I hate to say that, but I feel like that's just such a fucking a way of just like a way of avoidance of the situation, but like what we can't really at this moment do anything about the situation, which is unfortunately unfortunate, I guess. Like now we kind of have to, if we do want, I mean, the Biden administration still claims that they're still working on trying to get Paul Whelan back, and they claim that they offered anything, and I was like, no fucking way you did. No, the fuck you did not. You're just saying that shit. They're like, yeah, we spoke with the family. They said it was a good call just to bring back Britney. And I was like, oh, I'm sure that's what they were really fucking feeling. Like, oh yeah, sure. Like, let's just totally give up, our entire fucking hand, and all our leverage, and maybe take a step back and reassess how we can now try to bail someone out with no political backing for espionage. So that's going to be a tricky road to navigate there. Like I don't know if we are genuinely that interested as a country, or at least the Biden administration is that interested in getting Paul Whelan back. I have no idea in what way they could really accomplish that now.
Yeah, and also negotiations happen fairly quick. I mean, she hasn't been over there for I mean, what? How more than much than less than 6 months? I would think it hasn't been that long.
I think 9 months. I don't
Okay,
know.
but
9 months
even
is kind of sticking out to me. I
yeah,
feel like that's a safe number.
less than a year. Less than a year.
Yeah,
Regardless,
yeah, less than a year. Yeah,
negotiations have been going on for less than a year. Like
correct.
how? Like why didn't they negotiate more? Why didn't they hold out a little more to see if they could get somebody back?
While we were like fighting the most non-subtle proxy war the world has ever seen. Like while the Russians are currently they were actively invading the Ukraine, and we were just funding and are still funding, trillions of dollars over there, like to combat the Russian invasion. Like and here we are negotiating, like, oh, like, yeah, give us back this person. Oh no, you give us back that person. It's like, I
And
mean,
on
I
top,
and I
go ahead.
understand that diplomacy, that, in diplomacy, you always, the best diplomacy, you keep lines open at all times. I truly understand that, but it just seemed, it's ironic. It's just
Well,
ironic.
on top of that, it's kind of funny. It just popped in my head that I think like literally 3 or 4 days ago, I just seen that the Pentagon misplaced $2.2 trillion and $20 billion of the Ukrainian money. They don't know where it went, and then all of that was all over social media. And then right as soon as that comes out, they're like, "Oh, Brittney Griner's coming back.
Yeah.
We traded an arms dealer." Now what is social media doing? They're fucking erupting. Everybody's talking about fucking Brittney Griner.
Yeah.
Now, could that also be a political fucking scheme or whatever to get the eyes off of the $2.2 trillion? I don't know if people understand this. $2.2 trillion. That is more taxes than you and everybody you've ever even walked past and seen in your entire life has paid.
Yes.
And
That's a
that's
lot of
our
money.
money that is gone. Nobody
Yeah.
knows where it fucking went.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important thing. And I brought this up when we talked a little bit extensively about the Ukraine, and how I feel like that we should have absolutely no involvement whatsoever. And my reasoning being, even if we have a financial involvement, like there's no oversight. There's absolutely no fucking oversight of the money after we give it to them. There's nobody. It's just like, it's like giving your fucking. I hate to use this analogy. But it's like giving your fucking money to a bum. You don't know if he's actually gonna spend it on food, or if he's gonna go down to the fucking liquor store and buy a fucking fifth of vodka. Like that's what you're dealing with. And unfortunately, people, and I hate to generalize a fucking group of people, and I don't want to get canceled, but I just want to say there's not a great history or track record or financial track record of money, especially in conflicts, of going to the right places. There's a lot of hands and a lot of cookie jars, and the Ukraine was once a part of the Soviet Union. The apple does not far fall from the tree. I'm going to tell you that corruption fucking is the real deal, especially in Eastern Europe. Like, why do you think it's still a shithole?
Yeah.
Corruption runs fucking deep.
If
So
if
when you have all this fucking money disappearing, like, and you're just, and we were just a funnel. We were just a funnel, dude. A funnel for this shit.
you know,
And
if you look at the government today and you don't think there's corruptions on both sides,
oh yeah.
then you're stupid. I'm sorry, but you're fucking stupid. There's corruptions on the left side, there's corruption on the right side. I don't fucking care. There fucking is.
Fucking stupid.
People stay in the government. If people are in the government for 20, 30, 40 years, you don't think that they're not getting their fucking pockets filled. One thing that's crazy to look at is look at the average president's salary or the president net worth when they come into office and then when they leave office. Look at the average salary or net worth of a senator when they come into office, when they leave office. It is fucking mind blowing.
Yeah. I mean, the president, I can understand, because at that point you're a fucking brand, dude. Like, you can write a book and like fucking, you're fucking multimillionaire
But a
overnight.
senator from Wisconsin going from a net worth of like 500,000 to a couple hundred million in a few years.
Exactly. So, like, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about fucking government structure
No,
and
I
stuff
don't want to
like
get into
that,
politics,
but
but
I do support term limits on
exactly.
congressmen,
That
and
that's
congresswomen,
crazy. That has not been implemented yet. That I know a lot of there's a
because
lot of talk about it now,
all the
though.
crooked motherfuckers
Yeah,
made sure that
yeah,
it hasn't.
yeah,
And to your point, so you brought of like a good point of like, like once this news kind of like broke, that's when they use kind of something else to avert your attention. I hate to like generalize and say like they, like the government is like, I mean, I don't think, how do I say this? I do and I don't. It's like I have an inkling, but I haven't seen enough evidence to, to really just flat out and say it's a theory, I guess, that there is a lot of like obviously like government influence on the media, especially when you have corporate interests in the media. And we've talked about this before
I
as
mean,
well.
Elon Musk released the documents. The Biden administration was sending them emails and like of tweets to take down, and there was email chains saying the Biden admin sent this and blah blah blah. Oh, it's taken care of. Like
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
there's political fucking push and political a political
Yeah,
agenda on both
yeah,
sides.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Fox News had like they have what's called like the message of the day that was sent down by Rupert Murdoch, and it basically would be like, hey, like you're gonna talk about like how good like George W. Bush is today, like, or talk about how bad like this one senator like stumbled over their words, and it's like it just so happens to be like a
Yeah.
Democratic like senator from
Everybody
somewhere.
just needs to get their news not from a mainstream news site. They need to do their own research, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. I
Yeah,
think Fox News, CNN, CSN, MSNBC, all that is just
garbage.
stupid
Mm-hmm.
garbage. Don't
Yeah,
fucking listen to that shit.
yeah,
Don't put that fucking
yeah,
propaganda on your fucking TV.
yeah.
That's just horrible. If I walk into somebody's house and I see they have the shit on their screen, I'm like, oh my fucking god. Like, is this the shit you listen to? This is why you're so fucking radical on the right. It's why you're so radical on the fucking left. So all you do is listen to this fucking shit being shoved down your fucking throat. You can't make no decisions for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, but the scary thing about it is, dude, because obviously ever since Trump left office, their ratings have gone absolutely like to the fucking dumps. Nobody's watching fucking corporate, broadcast news media anymore.
That
But
CNN Plus like fucking bankrupt. They put like
oh
billions of
yeah,
dollars
yeah,
into
fucking within like a month, it was up for like a month, and like
it.
they fucking canked it. Like it was so funny, but like so the reason we were talking about like this whole Brittney Griner thing and Paul Whelan thing, right, is like left a whole fucking Marine behind. It was like we didn't even have to watch the news for that. I saw it as a fucking meme. Basically, it was basically a
Yeah.
fucking meme that was just being shared, and everyone was getting fucking fired up about it. Like that's all it took. All it took was somebody to take this dude and put a picture of him up in his fucking blues, and write just like a very biased like bullet points where it was just like like served in Iraq, WNBA player, and like fucking like this one came home, this one's still over there, all this stupid shit. I'm just like, fuck. And it's like, if you're a fucking, that's and then the person who like wrote over the post was like, if you're a fucking Marine, you should share this. Like, like, bitch. Like, first of all, nobody tells me what to do anymore. Let's just get that straight. But like and it's to see so many of our like friends, our peers, like just fucking like just in my opinion, falling for the bullshit and just fucking retweeting this thing.
Oh, dude, I
Not
shared the same
not
fucking
knowing,
post.
yeah,
I
not
shared the
knowing shit.
post,
Oh,
dude.
did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna fucking lie. Yeah, I shared the fucking post, and even after hearing a story about him, like
Yeah.
it's still. I mean, my view still stays the same on it. I mean, if you couldn't get both of them back, then none of them should have come back. You're trading an arms dealer who's literally fucking like gave weapons to the fucking what do they call it, the FARC, to
Yeah.
fucking attack U.S. officials, and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you're trading it for a WNBA player. Like,
and
come
the
on, like,
FARC,
get
yeah,
both of
in
them back.
the FARC too. I kind of want to touch on the FARC. I want to. The FARC is not some like, and he's not some like terrorist organization like organized in the
The
mission.
FARC is
Well, no. Let's hear me out. Let me finish my statement.
all right.
They're not some terrorist organization organized to like hate America. Like that's not their agenda. They want to establish a communist. You mentioned they were Marxist thing. They want to establish a communist government in Colombia. And what they do, what their main gripe is with the United States is that they hate the fucking like international corporations coming in to Colombia and like corrupting the government and stuff like that. And it just so happens that who's the best at it? It's us. It's
Well,
the United States.
I do gotta say I did read an article that they did hijack a plane with a Colombian senator on there
Yeah.
And that's what ended their whole peace treaty, peace treaty with the Colombian government, and they had a demilitarized zone for that reason. Then that got ended in 2002 when they hijacked a plane and kidnapped a fucking senator from Colombia.
Dude, it's fucking
It's
crazy. It's
crazy.
crazy how they get down there, bro. Like South America, how they get down? Shit. They don't fuck around, dude. Like they'll any day, literally at any fucking time, you can overthrow your government. I feel like I feel like at any fucking time in South America, you could just wake up and just fucking overthrow your government, and people would
Hey,
be
all you gotta do is go to
down.
Thailand, get a fucking few $1 million and fucking guns, get some fucking C4, hijack a fucking plane.
Yeah, and just fucking oh man, yeah, dude. It's crazy. It's so crazy. The world is, and I was actually listening to fucking Rogan's podcast earlier today, and it was the one with Neil
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he was talking about how like when people like when astronauts go up to like the moon and stuff, and I think there's only been like 27 astronauts, like 27 people actually like set foot on the moon. I think from the United States. I'm not sure if like any other countries have done that. I don't
It's
think
more
so.
than any other country. Let's just put it that way. Fucking America first. Fuck you.
But anyway, so and he talks about like how a lot of their experiences, like or that experience in particular, like looking at the Earth from the moon, because that's I think it's the closest farthest distance, if that makes sense, that where it's the closest distance in which you can actually see the curvature of the Earth. Because a lot of the times when we're looking at like footage of people who are like in space and they're looking at Earth, a lot of times they're using like a fishbowl lens, which captures a curvature, but it's not actually the curvature. Like they're not even far enough. But from the moon, you can see the actual curvature of the Earth, so you actually have some perspective. And saying that like you just value like not only like Earth as just like in a very nature hippie way, but just like you understand how petty people are. Like you're like, damn. Like you're looking at the continents, showing up there from space, and you're like, we drew lines through that. Like we're not letting people in certain parts of, that green spot over there because they don't believe the same things that you believe in. Like that's
Are you a open border guy then?
no, I mean, no, dude. I mean, it would have to, and we can get philosophical about this for a second. Like, if it would have to be some climate. It would have
Let me say this real quick.
the
Like,
level of catastrophe I think it would have to take in order for us to like have a reset that would require like that would even enable something such as an open border policy for everybody. I don't think that we could ever like I don't know. I personally don't believe that we could ever like work towards an actual like open border like international policy where everybody just can go anywhere. I don't
yeah,
think that could ever work.
you can't, because like at the end of the day, there's just people out there that don't have the same intentions
And it's
as
money.
everybody else.
There's money involved. You're going to pay certain taxes in certain other places, and how can you distinguish that if there's no borders?
Well, yeah, just
Like
not just that, but just think about like let's just take like MS-13 as like an example, because we're right on the southern border. Like those people fucking like cut off people's body parts and send it to their family. Like we like that shit just can't fucking happen. Like there's always gonna be fucked up people out there. There's always the greater good. There's always people out there that like want the best for everybody, and I feel like that's a very I feel like a mind blowing experience to be an astronaut and sit up on the space station, look down at Earth, and that's something that obviously not a lot of the population will ever get to experience in their life. And it probably makes you think about life in itself as a different aspect. Um, and then you get down here and it's like all you know is like your town, all you know is like where your surroundings are, but there's so much out there. I think that's a good thing about the Marine Corps and us joining is we got to experience different cultures, experience different countries. I mean, I remember in high school looking at the map in social studies and seeing Tokyo, and like how I always point out the big cities around the world, around the globe. And Tokyo was like a big black dot and it said Tokyo in big black letters, and I was like, wow, like they're like that's a fucking whole ass city, a whole ass like civilization there. Like I'll never experience. And then one day I found myself fucking drunk, stumbling around Tokyo, fucking trying to find the next fucking bar to fucking give me some sake and shit. And it's an
Nice.
experience. It's such a fucking experience. I feel like everybody should out there should travel. I feel like you should try. Not bring marijuana with you to travel either. Don't bring marijuana, but you should travel.
Yeah.
Uh, definitely.
Chances are you can probably find it wherever you go. If you're looking that if you needed that badly, it's not that hard for a stoner to find weed, I think, wherever you go. But yeah, I think I wholeheartedly like agree with you, and I think being immersed in those, which I mean, when you bring up like a theoretical like open border situation, like I would, fuck, dude, that would be such a like a transcending experience. I feel like, like to have so many people be able to interact with each other, I think in a way that has never been, possible. And I just think of like the explosion of ideas and just culture and even subcultures that become of like a byproduct of something that happens like that. But what I fear is like too much assimilation, like Jesus Christ, I'm slaughtering this word. Homogeneity. Yeah, homogeneity, when everything like becomes like the same. And like, because then you start, when you don't have like certain distinguish between each other anymore, like say like I was like from France and you're from United States, like I'm no longer technically French, you're no longer technically American, like we are now the same thing, though we are very different still, and
Yeah.
I fear that once you give everyone a blanketed like one thing, um like you start to kind of deteriorate a little bit of like those little things that distinguish us as cultures and stuff.
Yeah, and I gotta say one of my favorite experiences I look back on all the time was we were outside of Pohang in Korea, living in those tents and shit. I remember going to the smoke pit all the time. I might have told a story already, but I had this one Korean guy, and all he knew, like words he knew, was like very few, but he knew friend, he knew trade, he knew the basics like that. And every time I see him, like I would fucking give him one of my cigarettes and shit. Like he would give me one of his. And like this dude, I always go smoke, but always looking for this dude. We always like try to talk, try to communicate. We show pictures on our phone, like stuff,
Mm.
like trying to get to know each other well. It was such a fucking cool experience to see somebody from a completely different culture, completely different part of the world, and be and like click with them and be friends with them. And I remember one time, and it like really hit me that like this dude was like just like I am. He showed up one day and he was looking around for me, and JP, one of my buddies, I was like, hey, like
Shout
that
out.
one dude's looking, yeah, shout out, is is looking for you. And I was like, all right. So I find him, and he opens his breast pocket and pulls out a pack of cigarettes, of Korean cigarettes, which tasted like fucking candy. And he
Yeah.
goes, friend, and he hands them to me. And I remember like him giving him a cigarette. So I'm thinking like, this dude went out of his way to fucking get this for me and find me and give it to me. I was like, I would never have found that. I would never have had this experience. I would never had this connection in my fucking life if it wasn't for, signing that piece of paper, going through all the experiences I did, and going to that one moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, regardless of like Russia, China, there's people that are our age that if we had a few days to fucking sit around and talk and discuss, we were probably the same fucking people, just from different places,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed that too. And I mean, I think one of the most famous tales of that is like, World War One, where they had the Christmas break. Like
Yep.
they're playing football, in no man's land and shit. And I was like, how could you go back to killing that person? Like, after playing, maybe like sitting down with them and swapping photos of each other's, like, their bells back home, um, like how could you do realize at the end of the day, like they're humans, like, and that's another thing I think one of the astronauts talked about too, is like when he was up there on the moon, was just like just wanted to take like two warring like fucking like politicians and just fucking like strangle them, because like how could you be fighting over like material stuff when we
Yeah.
have like bigger things to be worrying about, like.
There's a quote that I remember reading one time, and it goes along the lines of old men declare war, but it is the young man who must fight and die.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Plato even said like only the dead know the end of war. And it's true. I mean, fuck, there's a lot of good like poetry, like World War One poetry and stuff like that. Uh there's a lot of good military poetry that people could read. Definitely look some up. Um but I mean, just the like you're throwing in. And I was actually talking about, who was I can't even remember who I was talking to about this. But I mean, think about it like this, right? Where you're fighting over materialistic things at the end of the day, usually some sort of political agenda.
Yep.
But you have to find some way to convince people to do that willingly. So you throw in concepts like honor, you throw in concepts like loyalty, you throw in concepts like patriotism.
Patriotism. Yep.
Yeah, you throw in concepts like that, and you get people amped up, like, oh, I'm doing this for a cause, like I'm doing this, I'm defending my country, like in some instances, yeah, they were defending their countries, like, but you're defending your country because of, like, in my opinion, illegitimate reasons, like
Yeah. There's been a
because of
lot of
some political,
illegitimate.
yeah, because of some political, what bullshit that's going on between two countries and stuff like that. Like we got our shit pushed in Pearl Harbor because we stopped giving Japan oil. We wanted to make Japan feel the burn, and they fucking paid us back. They paid us back in tenfold. Like that shit was not unprovoked, and that's another term,
Yep.
you know, fucking wrongfully detained and unprovoked. Any conflict. There's no conflict in the history. There's no such thing as conflict in general. If you study the concept of conflict as being unprovoked, like the conflict is never unprovoked. Like there's always some intention. There's always some motive. There's always some build up to conflict.
Yeah. And I have a book that I about halfway through right now that talks about the Japanese Imperial fleet and the battles leading up to them building their fleet up, and talks about Pearl Harbor. And that'll be something that we can dive into in another podcast. But one of the big things that a lot of people probably know, a lot of people probably don't know, is that the message of declared war from the Japanese was delivered late uh, in Washington, and that's the reason that the American troops didn't get notified beforehand. And not just counting that, the signal tower people uh, heard the buzz on the radio coming in, and they ignored it.
Yeah.
So that watch out for that coming up on the Rolling Bets, motherfuckers.
Yeah. We're gonna do an episode on Iwo Jima when we have Aaron back.
Yep. Iwo Jima's next.
Yeah, it's good shit. But yeah, I mean, so you have to convince these young people to do these things, these horrific things, to take the life of somebody who's not too different from them, um, willingly. And actually you kind of like paint them in a corner, or let them paint themselves in a corner, because you almost they willingly sign up for the experience in some cases, in other cases unwillingly because of a draft. And then you put them in a situation in which they don't really have an opportunity to choose. The only choice that they have, it's either them or me. So in essence, you're not giving them, like, they're no longer willingly participating in, the grand strategy of like whatever whatever end goal it is for the nation, whether it's fucking resources or whatever. They're unwilling participants in that game. And the only way, like I said, that the only way out is either mission accomplishment or death.
Yeah. That's a crazy scenario. I don't think the average person can even put themselves in that scenario. I mean, like D-Day, like just picture that for a moment. Like you are on these fucking U-boats. You're in the ocean. You're splashing around. You're with crammed full with other men. They're puking. They're probably fucking crying. I mean that's a crazy situation. There's U-boats getting blown up next to you. And then the gate drops, and the waters are just filled with blood, filled with bodies.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's not I'm fighting for my country anymore. It's probably more of a I'm fucking trying to survive. I'm trying to get to the next fucking objective to fucking survive. Obviously, there was probably people out there who are fucking hard fucking chargers who are thinking they need to get to the next fucking objective and whatever. And there's some great stories about D-Day too, about I forget their names, but they pretty much cleared the way, and the sand wasn't thick enough to put their flags in, so they were stabbing the flags in their legs just to guide a path for the troops behind them before they died. And that's imaginable today. I mean, I think we have such a like the average American doesn't face any adversity nowadays. I mean,
Or at
breaking
least
up
not, or at
with
least not adversity on a scale in which
yeah,
we're
yeah, on a scale of
referring
that,
to.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not saying you have to go to fucking combat to fucking face adversity,
Yeah.
but just life is easier nowadays, and adversity isn't something that people face. I think the biggest adversity that most people face today is just breaking up with their boyfriend or girlfriend. That's like the worst experience that they felt, and I feel like to grow and to be a better person, you need to put yourself in adversity. I'm not talking about like harsh situations as far as like that. Like push yourself to the limits. Like go run till you can't run anymore. How many? I don't think there's enough people in this world that have ran till they have canned anymore.
Yeah.
I think there's people in the world who have done stuff that makes them uncomfortable, regardless if that's going to the gym, working out, regardless if that's reading a book from start to finish. That's a problem I have. I'll start a book and I'll get halfway through and I'll just stop. And it's a discomfort. I mean, it just doesn't have to be physical to be uncomfortable. And I feel like every day you need to do something that doesn't make you comfortable. Every day do something that is uncomfortable for you, that makes you grow, regardless of what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And like to your point, like when you were kind of
That
bringing
was a
up
ramble.
now bringing up to about the guys who, like, like before dying, they would stick that, the stake through their leg to signal people like the path, through D-Day. And I think of a poem a lot. It's actually it's quite often misquoted. And I'm gonna kind of enable a little bit of this misquoting here. But it's called "The Charge of the Light Brigade" by Lord or Alfred Lord Tennyson. It's about like a military blunder by the British, but there's a famous quote here that when people talk about like being in the military or being like a soldier, especially or a Marine, like or in combat, there's not to reason why, there's but to do and die. Like, and when it say theirs, it's like theirs as in like a possessive theirs. Like there's there's not to reason why, there's but to do and die. So you're not there to fucking ask questions. You're not there to, think about the grand scheme of things. You're just there to do and to die. Um, and it's a great poem if anyone ever gets to look that up and read it. It's called I'll recited again, like The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. But a lot of good military poetry out there, and I know I've been pushing the shit out of that.
Yeah, we gotta do more episodes on that. I like that.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Well, we'll transition here, because I wanted to talk about Vet Labz, dude. I wanted to talk about Vet Labz. So we did announce, like the launch, and I wanted to kind of take some time to go into like further detail about it. Like I feel like we didn't spend a whole lot of time on it. I want to spend some more time on that, and really dive deep into like obviously like the different products and how they can benefit you as a human.
Yeah.
And this is just general inquisition. This is not like obviously okay. We're promoting it. I'm promoting the shit out of this, but yeah, rightfully
take Vet
so.
Labz.
Yeah,
All right,
Vet Labz.
so let me get into this real quick. I just want to start this off. I started Vet Labz as a way to not only promote physical activity, regardless if it's just walking, if you're into CrossFit, if you're into lifting, if you're into bodybuilding, anything. I think as humans, we should not be sedentary. We should not sit around and do nothing. We need to be active. We need to be moving. I am regardless of just going for a walk. Like just go for a walk. I'm all for that. Also, a way to combat mental health. A lot of veterans get out of the Marine Corps. Let me speak on myself for to start off with this, and I think you might have went through the same thing. Is where you get out.
You can speak for me in this one. Yeah.
As we get out and you continue your ways in the military, but you don't continue your physical activity like you were in the military. And I think that I can say for me for sure, I got out and I put on some weight. I mean, I was drinking like I was when I was in the Marine Corps. I wasn't waking up at 04:30 anymore to go fucking talk about a little yellow birdie and a little yellow bill anymore. And I got myself into a dark place and I felt sorry for myself and I was no longer facing adversity. And then my good buddy Sheehan, he hit me up with this program called 75 Hard.
Shout out
Sheehan. With this program called 75 Hard. If you don't know 75 Hard, I'm not gonna tell you about it. Go fucking look it up. Go fucking do it. Go push yourself to be better. And he told me about it on a Saturday. I specifically remember it's Saturday because I started it Sunday morning. And it's 75 days. And go look up the program, and you'll see what I followed for 75 days. One thing I will say is you have to make your own diet. You can't have any cheat meals. My diet was 1,650 calories a day for 75 days. I lost 32 pounds.
Nice.
And that took me out of that spot I was in. It took me out of my slump. And I wanted to promote mental health through fitness, pushing yourself to be better, giving yourself objective, giving yourself goals, regardless if it's, hey, I want to run a 10-minute mile. I want to run an 8-minute mile. I want to run a 6-minute mile. That's fucking impressive. Like, so let's get into these products. I started off launching 4 products. I launched a pre-workout, a creatine, amino acids, and a protein powder. So let's start off with the pre-workout, which luckily I have right here with me. So the viewers that are watching the videos, they can see my pre-workout right now. So Vet Labz is the name. You already know I said it last podcast. So this podcast, that's Victor Echo Tango Lima Alpha Bravo Zulu, baby. All right.
Yes.
So
official sponsors.
Official fucking sponsor of the Rolling Vets.
Yes.
So our pre-workout is called fucking Shock. All right. Yeah. So it's with 200 milligrams caffeine, 2 grams of creatine, and I don't have the chemical in there that makes you feel itchy because I don't like that shit. I want to fucking work out. I don't want to feel itchy. I want to get my shit done. I want to get in there and get out. Especially if people like to work out late at night. They don't want to go to bed fucking itching like a motherfucker.
Yeah. So
pre-workout is used. Pre-workout. You need to take that caffeine to get you pumped up, get you focused, to get you in the game. My pre-workout has 2 grams of creatine in it. So creatine is naturally produced in the body. And I want to start off one thing saying too is my products aren't going to make you muscular overnight. They're not going to just transform you by taking these products. These products are naturally formed in the body, or they are your body uses to help build and recover muscle.
Yeah, there's an aid you on your journey.
Yeah, aid you on your journey.
Yes.
So pre-workout, 2 grams of creatine. Creatine now, I also offer a creatine product we have. Creatine is naturally produced by the body. What it does, just to sum it up real fast, is it absorbs water into the muscle and helps recovery, helps growth, helps endurance, helps that muscle look more fucking juicy and plump. Get that fucking pump going on, baby. All right. So pre-workout has 2 grams of creatine in it, 200 milligrams of caffeine. That's standard. Right now, if you go to Vet Labz on Facebook, we are doing a giveaway. Go ahead and fucking follow us on Facebook, like us on fucking Facebook, give it a share. You can enter in to win this fucking pre-workout right here.
And you have to tag 3 people. You gotta
tag 3 fucking friends, tag 3 fucking veterans, and then reach out to those fucking veterans. All right.
Yes.
Hit them up. See how they're doing. Next, so then I already hit the creatine too. Creatine is 5 grams a serving. That's standard. It's monohydrate. It's the good shit. Next thing to move on to is the protein. Now I'm proud of this protein as being a United States fucking Marine. Lucas Moss, what does this protein remind you of?
An MRE.
A fucking MRE. Regardless if you are a Marine, a fucking airman, a fucking sailor, or a fucking soldier, this shit is easy to pack, easy to take with you into the field environment, anywhere you want. It resembles just as an MRE, has a resealable fucking zip on it. And I will be giving away this exact protein powder in about 2 weeks. So now let's move on to this protein. There's 39 grams in a scoop. 29 grams of protein per scoop. That's more than the average. Why? Because more fucking protein is better for you. Don't fucking hear what anybody else says. There's no fillers in any of my products. And it's not a non-proprietary blend. Non-proprietary means that I don't put my serving on there and I don't hide my ingredients. Every ingredient that is in any supplement that I sell is on the label. So 39 grams of serving, 29 grams of protein. So let's go into what makes up the rest of the 10 grams. Let's go with fat, 3 grams. Saturated fat is 2 grams of that. Total carbohydrate, 5 grams. Total sugars, 2.5 grams. And then there's a bunch of milligrams levels of cholesterol, calcium, sodium, potassium, and iron. Those are all standard in any protein products. So go check out our fucking protein. Go fucking get it. Go fucking recommend a friend.
And that comes in it's chocolate, vanilla
and salted caramel.
Salted caramel. That sounds really good. Yeah.
Salted caramel is the shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And you can use the shit as a meal replacement if you want to. You can fucking wake up in the morning and substitute it for your breakfast and shit. Stop putting those fucking carbs in your body that are not good for you. Get some protein in your body in the morning. Don't get sugar. Don't be taking that sugar water and everything like that. So that goes back to sugar water now. I just said, let's go to my amino acids. Amino acids are BCAAs, branched chain amino acids. Now, those are the building blocks of protein. Let's put it that way. After your workout, you fucking destroy your fucking muscles and you need to recover. You drink the fucking amino acids. It helps recovery, helps growth, it helps endurance, it helps all in those ways. Amino acids can also be used as replacement to pop in any other sugar water that you could be taking in. Now, I want the average person listening to this podcast to go out and next time you go to the gas station, go look at a Mountain Dew, go look at a fucking any even like fruit drink. There's tons of sugar. I'm talking like 50 grams of sugar in just a Mountain Dew, like 30, 40 grams, 60 grams, 75 grams in like those lemonade shit.
Even the ones that claim to be like healthy too, like
Yeah.
like the berry ones, and you're like, oh, this fucking tastes amazing, and then you look at it, it's like 28 grams of sugar. It's like, Jesus Christ.
it's horrible for you. I mean, the body is not meant to drink sugar like that. That's just not how we're made.
And that's the type of fat that is the hardest to lose, is like the fat that's attributed to like your sugar intake. It's like, when you get that hard kind of fat like on your body where it's like you're like, okay, like I'm just stocky. Like, no, it's because like the sugar has hardened your fat to the point it's gonna make it like twice as hard to lose.
Yeah, definitely. And so amino acids, you can just drink that. It's not unhealthy to just drink these products. It's not unhealthy to drink protein. It's not unhealthy to drink creatine. It's not unhealthy to drink amino acids. Pre-workout Instead of spending fucking $3 on an energy drink, you could make up a fucking pre-workout drink. It's 200 grams of caffeine. That's the same amount that's in a Monster. The same amount that's in one of your Ghost drinks, stuff like that. But it's not all these chemicals, not all this bad stuff that's in these products. Um, One thing I want to hit on though is definitely the amino acids. I mean, don't even look at it as just to enhance your muscle growth in your body. I would use that as a replacement just for all these sugar waters. I mean, we have lemonade, we have fruit punch. We're gonna be coming out with some new flavors pretty soon and everything, and we're excited to fucking support the Rolling Vets podcast.
Yeah, yeah. It's fucking awesome, dude. It's good shit. It's good to see people like, especially like our guys, like, people we served with and stuff like that, or just veterans in general, like getting out there and fucking just being a dog in life, like just getting after it still, and making the most out of their opportunities with being on the outside, like a lot of people, like, I think we talk about this too, like, is the grass really greener on the other side? It's like, you got it, your grass is however you take care of your lawn. Like, it's whatever the work you do to put into, like, how good your grass is gonna look, I think.
Exactly.
And I think that's a huge testament. And like, when you were touching on like the kind of the inspiration and like the mission for like for Vet Labz, and I think it's very important because it's something that I relate to as well, as like physical fitness or just exercise in general. Is I can't stress enough how impactful it is on your mental health. Like, dude, I can't tell. I get like, I'm a pretty good public speaker, and I had to do a lot of public speaking in my semester this year, and for some reason I was getting a little bit more like anxious than I usually do when I publicly speak. And I don't know why, because I feel like I've built up like a confidence level in which I could just go in there and just kind of big dig it. But dude, like exercising, like running beforehand, like going on a fucking 3 mile run, like knowing I had like a fucking, a presentation or whatever to do that day. Like I just felt that much better, like that much more of a
Yep.
badass, walking in, like giving a speech, knowing that I fucking got mine today. I fucking woke up and I
Exactly.
fucking got mine. So, I mean, it's like, but it's helped me like in a mental state also because of that. It's like, it's, the having a routine and holding yourself accountable, and really, and I'm not a guy that like really is like, oh man, I was like, I fucking lost this much weight since I started doing this. Like, I was just doing it just to do it. At first, like, I just wanted to be a better person. Like, I didn't have like a goal, a number in line, like in mind of like, oh, once I reach like this much, like I know I fucking made it. Like, no, you should just want to strive to be a better person. And Vet Labz is a fucking great way to help you do that. It's enabling you to exercise and to exercise and treat yourself, like, and treat your body in a very like healthy way and in a natural way, not just fucking, buying illegal fucking pre-workout because you heard it's fucking insane, you're snorting it, and not fucking, you know
Or buying that shit from Walmart that fucking is cheap as shit, not good ingredients, just fucking mass fucking produced, sent that fucking everybody. I mean, that's just not good for you. But
yeah.
one thing I want to do too is I want to challenge everybody. Like what you said hits so hard. I don't think people understand that. Do a physical exercise before your day starts. If you work first shift, you wake up, your shift starts at 8 o'clock. I challenge you to wake up in the morning and go run a mile. If you can do a mile, do a mile. If you can do 2 miles, do 2 miles. Push yourself to a place where you feel accomplished, and that accomplishment will last throughout the day. It will push
Mhm.
you and make you feel better throughout the day. If you wake up in the morning and you feel groggy, you feel tired, like wake up earlier, go to bed earlier, eat the right foods, put good stuff in your body, and you'll get good out. You'll feel better. We're not meant to go drive through a drive through and get fucking food handed out to us in fucking 10 seconds, after ordering. That's not how we should be eating. That's not how anybody should be eating. Uh Also, I'd like to add that if you are interested in Vet Labz, go ahead and reach out to us at official@vetlabs.com. We offer personal training for everybody. If you're in bodybuilding, if you're powerlifting, If you just want to get off the couch and just start working out for the first time in a very long time, we can help you out. We can set goals for you. We can set meal plans. Reach out to us. We're also looking for sponsored athletes. Reach out to us at official@vetlabz.com and see if we can make an arrangement that's profitable for both of us and work towards a goal for both of us.
Yeah, and you don't have to sit on a black leather couch either. Like, it's all legitimate.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. I can't wait to try mine. I think I'm gonna go with probably the salted caramel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a bag of like vanilla right now of fucking just whey. Yeah, I just bought whey like fucking like 100 years ago. But you know, and it was from Costco, so that should last forever. And then I was like, I want to get on that amino shit because I was thinking about doing that even beforehand, but I just fucking lost. It's yours is actually like cheaper than some of the stuff I was looking at too. Like I think some of the amino stuff was like $50 fucking or $60. I think I saw even upwards of like 70, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. We got the front and back label on our website all together, and also for the month of December, we're doing a discount for Christmas. Use the code all capitals Vet Labz. That's Victor Echo Tango Lima Alpha Bravo Zulu. Use it for 15% off. Go fucking try it. Go check it out. See how you like it. Shoot us a fucking email.
Yeah.
Like our Facebook.
Yeah, and even some of the stuff like the fucking like the creatine and the pre-workout and stuff, like stocking stuffers. Not bad stocking stuffers. You know, the containers are pretty, they're a good size to fit in that little stocking. I tell you what, yeah, just slide that boy right in there. Yeah, good stuff, man. And I think, like I said, the mission's very fucking important. I think we're going to reiterate that too a lot more often on the show. And I hope that people are listening, you know, are not only inspired by Vet Labz, but inspired just to be a better person, just to be a better version of yourself. That's the only thing you can control in this world. And I think if you just kind of every day, just think, how can I get better today? Just a little bit. You don't have to fucking, you don't have to wake up one morning, just fucking roll out of bed and run 3 miles and fucking, do as many pull-ups as you can and, do 40 crunches and count them as 120. You don't have to do any of those things. You just have to improve little by little. And
1% every day.
1% every day. And, it's always going to be a work in progress. And I've always felt like maintenance is a lot easier than trying to attain something. So get to a point in which you feel comfortable and, maintain it.
And what's stopping you from starting today?
Yeah.
What's stopping you from starting right now after this? And if it's 8 o'clock at night and you're about to go to bed, what's stopping you from starting tomorrow morning? Like I don't think people understand what discipline can do to them. If you're disciplined enough to wake up every day, after 2 weeks of doing that, it's going to be a habit for you, and it's going to be a lifestyle change, and it's for the best. I mean, you only got one body. You need to put the best in to get the best out. You don't want to look back when you're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old and think, what the fuck did I do to myself?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm not telling people to go out there into a fucking bench press, fucking 315. Like, just go for a walk, stay active, and I think you should face adversity every day. I think you should do stuff that makes you uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be, like I said, reading a book, studying something, learning something new. Like, I think you should always push to be a better person, 1% every day.
Yes. That's great. That's a good point to end it on, I think. Shit.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. Stuck with us all the way to the end. We thank you for listening. We want our listeners to know that if your pack becomes too heavy, don't drop it. The Veterans Crisis Hotline can be reached at 1-800-273-8255. If you'd like to enjoy more content, don't forget to subscribe, Semper Fi, and keep rolling on.
Yet. That was good, man. I like that a lot.